Steve Clarke has urged fans not to get themselves into debt by trying to watch Scotland in the United States next summer. But this is serious, Simon. It's going to be expensive, says Stevie. It's expensive to go to America anyway. The tickets are expensive. If you can get there and you can afford to be there, then fantastic. But don't push yourself too far into debt trying to get there.
Thank you, Martin Lewis.
Bit of sensible advice when you consider it. Because at the end of the day, we now know what FIFA are up to. The bid document for the World Cup stated that the cheapest seats for the groups should be about £15.70. That's about 21 US dollars. Instead, England's cheapest ticket for the game against Ghana comes in at 164 quid. But that's not all. Say, for talking's sake, and this is from me as a Scot, say England go all the way to the final. Say you get to the final. The cheapest ticket is 3,119 quid. The middle category ticket is 4,160. The top seat at the MetLife in New Jersey is coming in at £6,500. So there we are. That's what is going to set you back. Now, some supporters group are up in arms about this, and it's hardly surprising, really, because what FIFA said they'd do, they're not doing. But bear in mind, and I do have to concede this, FIFA have said they've had 5 million requests for World Cup tickets. So the demand undeniably is there.
6.5 million tickets they've got, and they've sold 2.5 million already.
Right. But what are we witnessing in terms of the pricing? Now, the head of policy of the Football Supporters Europe group is in Berlin waiting to speak to us. And he's Martin Endemann. Martin, thanks for joining the show. Good morning.
Good morning. No problem. Pleasure to meet you.
Good to meet you, Martin. I think you and your group, Football Supporters Europe, are calling this a betrayal on FIFA's behalf. Would you like to elaborate on that? Why a betrayal?
Well, I think it's horrific pricing. Fans are shocked. You already mentioned some of our main criticism. There's the bid book where prices were promised, which are not there. In fact, they are 10 times higher than what was promised in the bid book. And you have to keep in mind, the bid book is there. It's a basis on which the World Cup is awarded. And this is not met what was said in the bid book. Then in theory, there's a category 4 with prices starting at $60. I haven't spoken to anyone who was able to score that on the free market. And if you look at the seat maps, these category 4 tickets are microscopically tiny sections of the stadiums. Yeah. And then this category, as you said, is not available for the participating national associations, where the allocations are very tiny and fans have to spend $200 on average for the cheapest section of a stadium. This obviously goes explicitly against the most loyal fans, the ones who followed their teams in the qualifications for the past year or even more. For some of the nations in our membership, like the Scottish, it's the tournament of a lifetime, and now they are being exploited by these prices. And I don't want to sound too Eurocentristic as well. I mean, it's obviously even worse for fans from the global south, who, if they are let into the US at all, which we don't know at this point, we'll have to spend even more if we compare ticket prices with the average income of some of the participating countries. We did some calculations, and a fan from, let's say, Iran would have to work a full year to afford the cheapest ticket for a final. A fan from Ghana would have to work 2 years for a ticket for a final. That's absolutely not normal for us.
Now, Simon, to me, from what Martin has just outlined, nothing in his argument there is unreasonable.
Well, it depends what you think the purpose of FIFA is. I mean, ultimately, they are a not-for-profit organisation. Their responsibility is the well-being of sport, and it's to redeploy the finances that are generated from these tournaments into the ecosystem of sport, to develop it, and specifically football, to develop it around the globe. And that's what they all say they're doing. Now, it's very clear. I mean, I've not seen the bid document. I'm not sure the conditionality around it. I don't know whether the £15 seats were based upon seeded teams, or there's some caveats that they're able to get around it. And it's no surprise to me, in the most consumptive, capitalist-driven society in the world, which is America, that ticket pricing and commercialisation of the proposition is coming under focus. I mean, the reasons why the Americans got the bid in the first place is because Trump, in his first presidency, confirmed to FIFA that there would be 15 billion worth of revenue generated for them. So the modelling of this has to have had some thinking behind it to deliver that. It's 11 to 13 billion is the projections that FIFA were targeting to get out of this World Cup, which is in part the reason why they got it. Football now is across the pantheon of all its permutations at its elite level, and this is the elite level. Very, very expensive. And very expensive because of the domestic games needing to be able to sustain themselves, because none of them are making huge amounts of money, and the player cost is so significant.
Yeah.
And in FIFA terms, what are they doing with the money? If the money is being redeployed into football, as tragic as it may be that loyal fans that have followed their countries around qualifying games, and some of them really pedantic ones, are sacrificed at the altar of the commercialisation of football. But that's the business that they're in.
Martin, is that fair? That when all's said and done, the money raised here from the tickets that are sold, and the demand is huge, as I said, the money raised allegedly is going to go right back into the game. Nothing wrong with that, is there?
No, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And I agree with at least some of the points Simon is saying, and that's one of the main arguments FIFA has on their prices, that we will reinvest whatever percent into football. But then again, our question is, how could football survive in the last years without that income? And why does football now need an income which is, according only to the ticket prices, 5 times higher than the prices which were set in Qatar, which was already a very, very expensive tournament?
Yeah.
And especially when we see the reality of football across the world, how low of the percentage of
yes.
Well, I think there's quite an easy.
Yeah, but Simon, I'm with Martin on that, because when it comes down to it, the bid document said, and it's all wonderful, let's go for that.
Yeah.
They're in. They've got the tournament. That the lowest price for the final in the bid document, or the bid book as Martin calls it, was 95 quid.
Sure.
It's now $3,000,
okay, but I'm
30 times higher than that.
With respect, I'm not sure the terms of reference of how a bid document is detailed between a hosting country and the organisation in and of itself. It's very simple to look at the reasons why Qatar had a different feel to it, because Qatar wanted the World Cup for very different reasons than America did. America wanted the World Cup because of the commercialisation of the opportunity. Qatar wanted the World Cup because of the development of the region and the opportunity to use sport as an influence play. So that's the reasons why Qatar's mentality would have been different. It shouldn't alter FIFA's mentality. But it's a two-tiered approach, isn't it? You've got the countries that are bidding for the tournament, and you've got FIFA awarding it to them. And it'd be very interesting to see in the middle of that how that all comes together, because at the centre of it, FIFA want it to be a tournament that reflects the world's game.
Yeah.
But the argument is, where does the money go? Well, if you talk to Arsene Wenger about the World Cup and the redistribution of funds from it, and him wanting to have a World Cup every 2 years and commercialise it that way, it's because around the globe, in the underdeveloped countries, in the African countries of the world that don't have the infrastructure, there are vast requirements for investment into their football opportunities there. Quite frankly, for the domestic game to benefit from the next harvesting of players around the world.
Right. Martin, my final point to you is this. If every game is sold out, and you have to think the clamouring for ticket is going to be enormous for every game, it kind of defeats your argument, does it? Does it not? Because fans will want to go.
Absolutely not. I mean, the question here is, for whom is the World Cup in the first place? Is it only for rich Americans who might be able to afford the games, who want to see a game, sees it more as a bit of an event, a one-off, and maybe even a status symbol to afford a ticket for the final? Or is it also a tournament which is a global celebration of football across the world, where every fan in theory should have access? And at the moment, we have to assume it's only the first one, and we don't think it should be a World Cup only for rich Americans who can afford.
What's your final point to FIFA then? If there's a message you want to send this morning on our show, what is it?
Well, the message is not necessarily a message to FIFA. The message is a message to the national associations who are absolutely complicit in that. Because at the moment, the system, FIFA, works perfectly. You have evil FIFA, who sets these prices, and then you have 48 participating nations who do absolutely nothing but leaning back and saying, there's nothing we can do. We are only one of 211 FIFA associations. We're very sorry about this. And as the FA in England put it, we will convey the criticism of our fans towards FIFA. And we think that's not enough. The 48 nations and the ones who still can qualify should get their act together, get on the phone and agree on a strategy how to pressure FIFA to lower their prices.
Martin Endemann, Head of Policy, Football Supporters Europe, thanks for joining us. I cannot disagree with anything that Martin has said.
Well, from a moral standpoint, yes, but that ship has sailed. We had the FA that will benefit from the revenue generated from the World Cup, the English FA.
Yeah.
This is the English FA that were telling you they had to sell Wembley Stadium a few years ago because they didn't have any money. So think about it. They're like, if they are taking revenue from the World Cup as part and parcel of being a participating team, that will then filter its way into the infrastructure of English football. So ultimately, whilst I concur with the morality of an argument about what should the game be about, what should it be for, what should the World Cup be achievable, it is now a commercial enterprise that generates $15 to $20 billion every World Cup cycle. And that's business. And that's what happens. And unfortunately, when you're going to fill these stadiums out with whoever you're going to fill them out at every single World Cup, I understand the argument, but you're not going to win it.